wood shop. Thank God for wood.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Lancaster Woodturners Coffee Hour number 87, January 27th, 2022. My name's John Kelsey. I'll be your moderator today. I can see 35 on screen right now. Well, welcome aboard. Let me see, a little housekeeping. Please silence your phones so they don't ring. If there's a bunch of noise, I'm going to mute everybody, but usually we don't, so that people can talk when they want to. But last couple of weeks ago, we had an awful lot of background noise from some direction. And if that starts again, I will mute everybody and you'll have to unmute yourself to talk. And I see a lot of you have muted yourself already, which is sweet. Let me see, what else do I want to say? This is sponsored by Lancaster Area Woodturners, and it's open to all woodturners, whether you're a member of Lancaster Club or not. Although we do find that after a while, guys who start coming here every week tend to join our club, which we like a lot. And because of that, our club has grown from 40 to more than 70 in the last year. Primarily, I think, because of Coffee Hour, plus a few guys around the area who come in. I want to thank you all for last week. I want to thank everybody for being supportive in allowing me, really going along with me, putting on the Stephen Hogman celebration and inviting a lot of people who hadn't been here before. It meant an awful lot to me to be able to do that. So I hope you all enjoyed it and got something out of it. We've had hundreds of views on the videos. So
nice job.
I think we have three Stephen Hogman videos out there, and they've totaled almost 900 views. In terms of views, our most watched video is the David Ellsworth video with 5,500 hits on YouTube. Right up there is Barry's bandsaw sled for resawing logs and crotches of wood for turning and woodworking. That's had about 1,000 views. And Barry and I are going to do something next week to add a little segment to that, to add a little circle jig to it. So we'll be posting a new version of that video sometime in the next couple of weeks. Also in announcements, next Tuesday night is the regular February monthly meeting of Lancaster Woodturners. It is a Zoom meeting, not a hybrid meeting. You'll Zoom in from home. However, Barry and I will be at the meetings place with our demonstrator, Mike Cooterback, who is going to show us how he makes multi-center star-shaped bowls. And it'll be an amazing demo. And with the two of us in the room, we feel perfectly safe. COVID, screw it. And we'll have our big fan on and keep our distances, and we'll get good video of Mike demonstrating his thing, which when we saw the bowl, some of you have seen them here. Ron has tried doing that. It's a mind blower. He makes a star-shaped bowl entirely on the lathe. It's a great trick. And anyway, we'll see all about it on Tuesday night. So all you guys who are Lancaster Club members, please do join us on Tuesday night for that, starting at 7. And those of you who are not Lancaster Club members, if that demo intrigues you, get in touch with me and I'll get you a link and you can be our guest for that evening. Let me see. After that, we're going to have anybody got anything they want to say right now? Okay. Tatkowski.
Let me unmute.
Yeah,
I got, for Christmas, I got Stephen Hogman's book, and I really find it very interesting, and I would recommend it for the club library, and there's some things I eventually would like to do in here. You know, he offers how to, but it's very good. And last week I thought that was exceptional to do that for your connection with Stephen, and is very, very, very good. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, I guess we're going to go to our regular show and tell routine today. I have a little video to show you. Who else has things? What we do here, it works best, is use raise hand. If you want some screen time to show us your work, or to show us a video, or to argue about something, or to ask a question, use the raise hand, which is down on the bottom of the screen on the reactions tab. It's the first thing. That I don't know what it does on your screens, but on my screens, it puts the raised hands up to the top center of the screen. So I know who's got a raised hand, and we'll go around the wheel in turn. Who else have we got who wants to show stuff? I know that Dawn does. And I know that I do. Anybody else on screen here today? Dux does, I know. All right, I'm going to start with Bowman, if that's okay with you all. What do you got, Jim?
Okay, good. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I turned my first Calabash bowl. Now, did I get the shape right is the question. I had watched one of Ernie's videos, I think, about turning it. Well, this one happened to have epoxy in it. I intentionally made the bowl blank out of a chunk of the maple was really dry, and chucked a couple extra chunks in the side of it. So this is what I came up with. Well, it was a couple of weeks. We had other things going on. And so I said, I also watched Ernie's interview with his friend in Mexico. Was it Mexico?
Hawaii.
Well, Hawaii.
Emiliano Achaval.
Right. I didn't even try to pronounce his name. He had a lot of nice comments about Calabash bowls. But one of the things he, as an aside, said they made lids sometimes. So I had some time since we were doing other things. So I went ahead and I selected a piece of pear from our homestead up in Pennsylvania, old sickle pear tree, took down. It had a little bit of punkiness in the edge. So in the lid. So I said, nah, I'm going to make something out of it. And, you know, I'm also a member of the No Funnel Club. So I decided to knock out that funkiness on the edge of where and you put it on that way where the epoxy is. That's kind of the creation I have. Now, I've gotten into some tool making here.
Well, before you go to the tool making, bring that Calabash back, if you would.
Yep. I'll leave the lid off.
Yeah, and hold it beside your face a little bit so it gets, yeah, that's good. Now get your hands out of the way. I want to see the profile.
Yeah, I know. And I want you guys to.
It's a lovely bowl, but it ain't a Calabash.
So what's the powder? This is according to, if I was trying to follow what the guy from Hawaii said, this is a smaller one. Now, what's the
curved bottom?
It would curve in more at the top and the bottom would be rounded. So there was no foot.
So no, right here, it should be rounded in more.
Yeah, rounded in more and like a constant curve from the top lip right around the bottom.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay,
Yeah.
I was watching some of the samples he showed on Ernie's video, and I thought I had the shape pretty good. Well, that's why I brought it.
You have a nice shape. You have a nice shape, but it's not a classic Calabash, I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
No,
what do the rest of you all think?
A Calabash bowl is made to sit in the sand. It's not made to sit on a table. They used them in Hawaii. They sat them in the sand. There's no flat bottom. They're round.
So they go completely round.
Yeah.
It sits in the sand, yes.
I sit them on the table anyway. They sit fine on a table.
Okay. So I made my bottom way too flat, in other words.
Way too flat.
Well, and I also nearly cut through the bottom again. If you listen, you hear the ticking. I had because of I usually cut in, but this time I left a spigot on. And when I went to cut it off, my chisel got a little deep. And then there is a slight imperfection. So you can hear it. I got a little worried.
That's a nice bowl.
I thought it was a nice bowl, but thank you. I want to try and get that Calabash right. We got sand down here. I could set it in along the river. That way I can make sure it's right. So, hey, the other thing is, I've been making wine stoppers as gifts over Christmas, and I get tired of using my wide parting tool to cut apart stuff. It takes up too much wood off of those little blanks. Well, a number of years ago at the Lancaster Woodcraft store where we used to meet at Susquehanna, I bought one of his 3/4 inch carbide tip blades with the intent of doing resawing on my Rikon. Well, that blade has very brittle metal to it. I had it welded 2 times beside the original weld. And the other day I put it back on because I was so frustrated with resawing not going right. So I put this blade back on. It worked pretty good, but toward the end I saw a bump happening. I looked at it. It had suffered another crack from one of the teeth out, and it was about to shoot off and punch a hole in the side of the shop. So I took it off and I said, I am not messing with that anymore. It's going in the trash. I said, no, wait a minute. I can make something. I'm in the middle of experimentation right now with making thin parting tools with this. I thought I had created a great idea until I laid it down on the wood and it jumped all over the place. And then when I hauled in, it wanted to pull me. So I said, oh, I got the teeth turned the wrong way. So I made another one with the teeth turned the other way and put it on the rest and brought it up like you would a normal, well, not normal, but brought it up. And then it wanted to yank itself in. I think it'll work, but I'm going to have to grind off all these teeth and leave only 1 or 2 at the end. Any comments?
I think that would work better with the lathe off. Just use it as a saw.
Yeah, well, I have a Japanese saw for that. Cuts a little nicer than this.
Okay.
But I wanted to make a thin parting tool that'll part. And so I'm going to keep playing with it. I thought some of the engineer guys might tell me that I'm all wet, and that's probably true.
Well,
I'm kind of a farmer. So
let me go back to gallery view and see what we get. Anybody got a comment on that?
Jim, it's Gerald here. Another suggestion for a thin parting tool: take a stiff butter knife and sharpen the end just like a regular parting tool would be. Works pretty well.
Okay, my wife decided to get rid of a set of knives which she could never get sharp as she liked. I won't say why. Probably I wasn't doing a good job of it. So she tossed them out. I rescued 1 or 2 of them, but a knife like that scares me. I guess you have to dull the edge and then only make the point the sharp point, right?
Butter knife only.
Oh, only butter knife. Okay. But couldn't you do it if with a regular like paring knife, a little short paring knife, just dull the top edge and then make the point work?
Don't know. They're a little flexible.
Yeah, well, that's part of the virtue, though, isn't it? You want some flexibility in a thin one, but maybe I'm wrong.
Hey,
Mike,
hey,
that
Jim,
might have been
ever,
Mike Pease's video. Yes, Barry.
there a lot of shops have these little DeWalt 735 planes, and their blades are they're well under 1/8 of an inch. They're probably somewhere between a 16th and 3/32. And they have holes cut in them for repositional mounting, but the holes aside, they make wonderful cutoff tools. They are high-speed steel, and they're stiff enough that they're not gonna chatter and bow. Your problem there, I think, with using these saw blades is the tooth. A saw blade wants to be used in tension, not in compression. And when you put that tooth against the wood turning, it's trying to compress the blade. And it's like if you took an old wooden handsaw and you saw it into timber, as soon as it starts to chatter, it won't stop. You have to, there's a rocking action you have to maintain. And I don't believe, unless you approach cutting off from the underside of your object on the lathe, so that you're putting the blade in tension, you're not going to get happiness out of that. But if you try grinding a 735 blade, I got a number of them here and they work really well.
Barry, that's a good suggestion. I have a 735, and for some reason I just couldn't throw the blades away when they got a nick or dull. I'm going to go do it. That's a great idea. I didn't think about them. There are a number of them underneath my planer right now. So.
And I want to say, if you use the 735 very often, if you do regular flat work much, which I do, 2 years ago, I bought the Grizzly helical head replacement for the, it comes with the bearings and everything. It's a complete kit. I think it's around $400, or it used to be about $400. And you pull the blade, the knife holder out and put in that helical head. And I think it's got 30 teeth, 3 rows of 10 teeth each. Does an excellent job. It is noisy, noisier than the straight blades, surprisingly, but it works very well.
I would have thought that would be the opposite.
That's what they advertise as.
Yeah.
Barry, the one thing I've heard, because first off, why spend the same amount as the cost of the planer originally to replace the heads? Why not buy one that's built that way? Second point is, the guys who use them told me, now maybe it's not been your experience, they seem to take more power. And already that 735 is about a half horse underpowered in my book.
You're right.
I would say it does take more power, but that's just the nature of carbide. It never, right out of the gate, it is not as sharp as high-speed steel. On the plus side, a lot of the stuff I do involves some South American hardwoods that are have a lot of resin or whatever it is in them that really eats high-speed steel edges. And so even though it starts off not exactly as sharp, it doesn't get dull as quickly. And I'm on the same head without having index. You got a 4-side index on each tooth, and they index very well. And I have not indexed them yet. And I've cut probably 400 board feet of wood.
Yeah. Those blades are getting really expensive too. I mean, I couldn't believe the last set I bought. I think they were up like $50 for a complete set, or more than that maybe. And I thought, this is getting outrageous after a while. So.
Well, there's a source cheaper than Grizzly on replacement teeth. This Alibaba. Those teeth, they are not square. They are, the edge isn't straight. The edge is actually ground on a 4-inch radius. So the replacement bits have been used a lot in carbide scrapers for the lathe and such. That radius edge makes it nicer than going after it with a 3/4-inch wide flat cutter.
Wow.
But you can get them for what amounts to about $1 a piece from Alibaba, without getting into grades of carbide.
Okay.
Nice tip. Nice tip. I'm going to move us along if that's okay with you guys. Unless anybody else has any further comment on thin parting tools. I see there's some good stuff in the chat. So check out the chat for that. And I'll try and capture that in the follow-up email as well. Kai, what do you got?
Yeah, I've got a little PowerPoint about powered respirators. I bought one for Christmas, or as a Christmas present for myself. So I can share that.
Please.
Okay. So that should be in presentation mode now. Is that working?
Yep, that's great.
Okay. So in general, there are 2 different types of powered respirators. On the right-hand side, you can see an early one that I bought around 1990 something, I think. So it has got the fan unit. You can see the little fan here, and the batteries in the helmet, and also the filters in the helmet. And it's a bit heavier than a unit where you wear the filter and the battery and the fan around your waist separately, and then the helmet is connected via a hose to your the hose connects the helmet to your fan unit. And I couldn't get any spare parts for the old one, no more filters and seals and stuff like that. So I bought one, and that's the unit you wear around your hip or waist.
That's the 3M unit. Is it 3M AdFlow, and what does that cost?
In Germany, if you buy them new, they are around €1,000. And I, including the helmet, and I bought it secondhand on eBay it was nearly new and paid 480 euros. So euro and dollar should be a little bit more than the euros maybe. But maybe pricing in the US is different from the pricing in Germany. I don't know. They are rather expensive, but they are really, really pleasant to wear and great if you have glasses and a beard, as I do. So it's a very comfortable helmet as well. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. Actually, they do two lines, 3M in Germany. One is called the AdFlow line. That's the heavy duty line, actually designed for welders. And then they have a light duty or lighter duty line called VersaFlow that is for other purposes, for dust control and stuff like that mainly, and also in chemical and medical professions they use them. I think the technology is the same inside. It's just the cover here is a bit more heavy duty. It's a bit heavier as well to wear, but I think it's okay. So my unit, as it was secondhand, came with the AdFlow part and the VersaFlow helmet to go with it. You can combine VersaFlow and AdFlow. That's no problem.
Do you wear it all the time in the shop?
I wear it when I do sanding, and I wear it when I do turning where a lot of dust is developed. Okay. I can show you in a minute. And I try to wear it quite often now because I want to test how good the battery pack is or still is. That's the problem. If you buy it used, the battery pack might be not that good. But as far as I have used it now, it runs more than 5 hours. It should be okay. So, and I placed it inside in the workshop so I can grab it easily, and I don't have to take it out of a cupboard first and stuff like that. So if that's too much work involved putting it on, you'll never wear it. So okay, and that's the helmet. You can flip up the visor. Here you can see the seal that goes around your face. It fits really nicely, and you don't feel it a lot. And yeah, from the other side, that's where the hose connects. Here's the air channel, and then the air is kind of blown along the visor. You have got 2 air speeds. I always use it on the lower air speed. That's sufficient for me. But maybe in summer when it's hot outside, it's nice to have more airflow. You can even, there's a little flap here, you cannot see it in the picture. You can even direct the airflow either to the helmet or to your face, or to the face shield, or to your face. So that's really nice. When you open up the unit, you find 2 filters. There's a pre-filter and a main filter, and that's the filter cover that goes on top. And that's the unit without the filters. The filters are just kind of clicked onto the unit, and you can build up this filter stack using other filters in combination with the one that I already have. So there is an odor filter that you can put on it against smells, and then there is also a filter unit if you spray paint that has got thinners in it, so that to protect you from the vapors of the paint, that you can click on as well. So you can, then the stack gets a little bit higher, and you have maybe to be a little bit more careful when you move around your workshop that you don't kind of knock that against other things.
Does it hook on your belt, or does it have its own belt at the waist?
It has got its own belt. Just go back. Maybe you can see it in the here. That's the belt. It's a leather belt with the AdFlow unit, and with the VersaFlow unit, it's a lighter belt that has got kind of a lock that you have with day packs or small rucksacks or something like that, which you just click shut. And here you have a leather belt that has actually got holes and a buckle. So go back. Yeah. It's funny.
What is the runtime on the battery charge?
They say with new batteries, you have 7 or 8 hours or a working day. And then there is a bigger battery pack that should give you maybe 12 hours or even more. But of course, a bigger battery pack is heavier as well. So maybe it's a better idea to get 2 of these smaller packs. That's the battery down here, the gray thing. So maybe it's better to have 2 smaller packs, and then when one is empty, just take another and exchange it for it. The price for the battery pack, if you buy it new in Germany, is for the small one around 150 euros. Should be the same dollars. And if you buy it on eBay as new in new condition, then it's about 70, 80 euros.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I tried it out on. I had collected a lot of turning squares that I cut from logs that were too small for turning bowls, or I thought they were too small for turning bowls. So I cut them into turning planks, and I just thought, okay, that's a good job. Now I can turn around and see how the unit works. So I turned a lot of these round. You can see all the shavings I produced, and here you can see the dust that had collected in the pre-filter of the unit. So it seems to be an enormous amount of dust that is in the air, and wearing this thing, even if you don't do sanding, I didn't do any sanding, it was just turning, then it seems to make sense. So
very good.
I think it makes sense to protect against dust in some way, either with a unit like this or even one of these masks that we all have to wear because of Corona and don't like, but they help in the workshop as well. So yeah.
There's another alternative that's available if anyone's interested. I bought one. It's $40. It's you can get it online. It is a mask with a tube. The air filter is worn on your arm. I could show you a picture if you want me to show it.
Yeah, I can stop this share and then you can show it.
Let me go into share here.
Kai, have you used the or seen the, I suspect they're in Europe, the power cap from the people up in Britain? That's what I use. It fit, everything is on your head and it's not very heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because I've heard a lot of people, I don't have a belt one. I've heard a lot of people who have the belt one comment about how the weight is bothersome. And like you mentioned, it's harder to get on. You still got to get the belt on, get the hose connected, pull it on. This power cap, you just lift it up out of its storage bin, pull it over your chin and you're on, and you just reach back and start it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first photos I showed, there was an old power cap that I used, and I found the belt one more comfortable to wear. And after putting it on and off several times, it's really a quick job. And I have the fan unit hanging at the wall. Just grab it, put it on, connect the hose. It's a click-in thing, connects really quickly, and then put that on, and it works nicely. Of course, it's a matter of price as well. The one
let's go see what
makes is about double the price than the other one.
Let's go see the one Ted has. He's got a $40 unit. Let's have a look at that. What do you got, Ted?
Can you see it?
Not yet.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I tried this, and I wasn't sure. I didn't want to spend $1,000 on one, although obviously they're much better. But this one I really like. It's, as you see, it's just a regular. It's a N95 mask. That little filter on the side you wear on your arm or around your neck. It's a HEPA filter, and it has batteries that last 7 or 8 hours. You just plug them in to recharge, and it has 3 airflows. I find it very comfortable. I wasn't sure about it, but I find myself wearing it several hours in the shop now for, you know, sanding and turning. It's great, and it's cheap.
Huh. That is cheap. Anybody else have any experience with that or comments on it?
I'll get out of the share.
Yeah. All right. I find this a very pertinent discussion. I'm shopping for one of these units, so this is very helpful to me. Okay,
It's just been a great.
Go ahead, Ted.
It's been a great unit. I recommend it if you want to try something that's inexpensive.
Cool.
Yeah, the nice thing about the 3M unit is that you can get every small part as a spare part for it. So that's really nice. I bought some other stuff, not an air filter unit, but something else from China, and it's really difficult to buy spare parts for it. So I think it's nice to have a company that can supply you with parts if things break, for example.
Yeah, 3M's worldwide, that's for sure. I'm going to move on then, because we're moving through our hour here, and I've got a bunch of guys next. I'm going to go to Michael Gibson. If you got something there, Michael, what do you got?
Yeah, the last time I showed you the rusty teapot,
Yeah,
and a few years later, I decided to make the most famous teapot of all, if I can share my screen, which is the Brown Betty. Can you all see that okay?
there we go.
This is made from pear, and I was very surprised to get the color of the Brown Betty. I just had some airbrush paint, and when I sprayed it with the brown that I had, I was really surprised how ceramic it looked when I finished.
That's amazingly ceramic-like. How did you make the spout and the handle?
Oh, I turn them. I don't turn them. I cut them out on a bandsaw and then shape them and fit them to the bowl. You know, the main body.
So you don't get the shape by cutting it out of a vase like you did with the maple leaves.
No.
Michael, last time you showed us one that we would have sworn was metal, and now you're showing one that I'll swear is ceramic.
Yeah, that's amazing. Why I thought I'd show it. I made it quite a few years ago, but I was very happy the way it turned out. It looked so ceramic. I was very, very pleased. And you can see I kept the rim, the pear color, and the spout there. And when you take the lid off, it's inside, you can see it's all still the pear color.
But it looks like brown clay. It looks like red clay.
Yeah, I know. That's I was amazing. Amazed. I thought I could, I just had one brown airbrush paint and I sprayed it and I thought, well, that's amazing. So I did give it a few coats and then I put a finish on, an acrylic finish. And then I buffed it and it just came up. Well, like I said, I'm very happy with it.
Very beautiful piece. Other comments or questions for Michael? Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm going to take advantage of being moderator here right now to show you something that I'd like to show you. It's just a 3-minute video.
Wood shop. Thank God.
I'd like to show you dudes my toolbox. I made this about 8 or 9 years ago when I thought I would be wintering in Florida and I wanted to put it on a pallet and ship it on down there and ship it back. Didn't work out like that. I have a lot of tools. I've been collecting them since 1975 because I'm a journalist and I need to have them to take pictures of them for my work. So let me show you how my toolbox works. Open the top lid. Out comes the sliders. Measuring tools. Calipers, rulers, and a good sharp knife. Sharpening stones, diamond stones, I use them to hone a final edge on my sharpest tools. Scrapers and skews, and a parting tool or two. slider, pin for tools, saw, marking gauge, hammer, rolls of tape. Gouges and curved scrapers. There's about a dozen tools in each drawer. These are templates for bandsawing rough work. I usually just leave them right there. And here's my specialty turning tools. This is threading tools, little box tools, some carbide tools, some strange grinds of things, some miniature tools. And they go here on this wing. This would fold down, but I also use it to keep this collection of long tools for hollowing. These fit inside a box that keeps them from cutting the dog as he wanders around the shop. Here's the wing on the other side. This is what's called a Pythagorean lift. And here's a drawer full of chucks, tailstock stuff, headstock stuff. Easy to get at, easy to put away. Here's some more of that same kind of stuff. Great big drawer of fat, old, thick, heavy scrapers. I had those a long, long time. Hardly ever use them, but I gotta keep them. Sanding stuff. And chucks and chuck parts. Now I made this out of some pieces of poplar that I got from Ron Sheehan and a whole lot of pine and 2x4s that I sliced up and made into drawer parts. And it all worked out pretty good. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. Here's a whole rack of tools I don't use very often. Gotta put them somewhere.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.
Back to gallery view. How'd you like that?
Are you taking bids?
Not for sale, that one.
Really nice.
An interesting thing about it is the drawer slides are all on, the drawers are all on ledgers. So that as you go down, there's the top one's full width, the next one's a half an inch narrower and sits on a ledger, and the next one's another half an inch sitting on a ledger. And then there's a fixed piece, and then the bottom set do the same thing. So there's no metal hardware to fool around with. They just slide in and out, and they work really well.
John, how long?
I like your handles.
Handle is a turned platter, of course, cut up. That worked nice.
It's great because there's different sizes, different configurations. You can't mix them up.
Oh yeah, with the handles, you can't get the drawer in the wrong place. That's for sure. It goes where it goes where you put it.
And how long did you spend cleaning it up before you showed it to us? Your shop looks way too clean, and the tools.
Well, I actually shot that video about 1.5 years ago, or I shot pieces of it, and I showed it to a couple of guys at the time, and then I never did anything with it. And I was going through my old, my files, and I found, oh, this is a good little video. So I put it together. So my shop is nowhere near that clean. It's not laid out that way anymore either. But the toolbox on wheels is the best thing because I can roll it to wherever I want it. So I'm not reaching over the lathe to the tools. I generally have it to my left so I can grab a tool. And I have my lathe on a wooden bench. So there's space underneath it out the right-hand side. So I can put all the 6 or 8 tools I'm using at a time there. So they're right at hand. And then they go back in the trays. So if I was making it again, I'd make it a little wider to handle longer handled tools. And I'd probably make a second one for some of the junk that's festooned around the outsides. And I'm going to work on next a little video about that Pythagorean lift, because that's something I've never seen anybody else do. And it really works slick as hell once you get it figured out. The way the shelf goes up and down. Any other questions or comments, or I'll move along to the next guy.
John, you mentioned that Pythagorean shelf, the brackets. Do they, when they fold, do they like nest within the underside of the shelf or on the outside of the shelf?
They're on the outside of the shelf in the cabinet, so it's about a 2-inch thick thing when it's folded flat.
Okay.
Yep. You could make it slenderer, but that just worked for me. That's all. It's made out of parts of fir 2x4s and turned pins that fit, you know. Okay, that's me. Who have I got next? I got Ted Luttrell next. What do you got, Ted?
How's that?
There, we got it now.
All right. That's what I wanted to show.
Okay. Now, can you enlarge that so we get rid of the furniture around it and just see the picture?
This?
Yeah, okay, that'll work. That did it right there.
Okay. You should see a blue background with a...
No, we see a gray background and a pot with a lid.
Ah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Wifey wanted a sugar bowl, so I haven't turned a lot lately. I've started getting in the shop again, so I had a little fun doing this little sugar bowl. That piece of wood at the top, this is sugar maple, and I had that just wonderful grain. I thought it was interesting.
That is pretty wood.
It is really nice. I wish I had more. A piece that was in my hatchway for a year. And this one is a salt bowl, where my son still uses a salt bowl on the table. Not very COVID friendly, you know, like the stuff you used to find in every European restaurant a few years ago, which I'm sure you don't now. That was a fun project.
Now, is that finial your own design, or did you see somebody else do that? That's a nice finial.
It is a nice finial. I saw a picture of it on Pinterest, and I copied it. I like it though. And this is not a turning project, but this was a Christmas present from my grandson. It's aside from all the RC stuff I buy the boys, I make something from the shop, and my grandson said, "I'd like a safe with a combination lock." So that's a ash dovetailed box. Sorry, the pictures aren't very good. I forgot to take them, and my daughter did them on her cell phone. With a wooden combination lock. It was kind of fun. Anyways, that's all I got to share, guys.
That's very cool, Ted. That's way cool.
Ted, why do you find the plans for the combination lock?
I found them online. There's several of them out there. If you can go to YouTube and see several different types, and I just kind of drew one up after looking at it. All those are basically the same.
Okay.
Ted, the salt bowl didn't look like it had a smooth round shape. Did it have some steps in it, or did I see wrong?
It's kind of curved on the bottom, and the step you probably saw was where the lid fits on the top. And I fit those lids very loosely. You know, typically you do a box, you want to hear it pop, but that doesn't work very well on the table. So both the sugar bowl and the salt bowl just has a loose fitting lid.
I think that's a very good point. A lot of people fetishize the popping lid, but it's no damn good at all for a sugar bowl. You get sugar all over the place.
Exactly.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Thank you, Ted. We got
Sure.
Bert next. Bert, what do you got?
So just
Fine.
before Christmas, one of our local fiber artist stores asked for if I could make a spool knitter. She had a bunch of plastic ones, and the people were asking for something a little bigger for little people. So this is about 4 inches long. It fits in my hand really well. Little people use them, and I even made them a little knitting needle. And I can remember a blast from the past when I used to do this when I was really young. So I thought I had better try it and see if I could still do it. So my wife was just killing herself laughing because she gave me a spool of knitting wool or yarn. And 2 hours later, I had this pile of cord. So these are a real simple little project. Kids love them. Older people with arthritic hands love them because it's something they can do. And if they fall asleep, they don't have to worry about missing a stitch. And they're just a simple project. And kids love them. I think they sold about 14 or 15 of them just before Christmas for small, Christmas gift. They're a good stocking stuffer.
You
That's
remember in childhood, we took a wooden spool. You remember the days of wooden spool, and we put little finish nails around and had the same thing, but this is really classy.
Yeah, this is, I remember that from my childhood as well, the little wooden spool with the knitting needle or with the nails in it. And when they asked if I could make something out of wood, I thought, well, I'm gonna have to try. And it's, this one here is some oak and maple. I just had scrap laying around the shop. So I tried it and it works, and they're really popular. Little people really love them. And I ended up making a video.
Can you demonstrate how that works? I've never played with it.
Show us your video or demo it. Yeah, demo it. Your hands are not quite in the screen. There you go.
Lower your hand.
Lower your hand. There you go.
Center it on the wall.
He's got a very elaborate setup there. Bert's calling it from Edmonton, Alberta, which happens to be the part of the world I'm from originally. So you're picking up each loop and putting it over the next post. Is that it? Yeah, I see. I kind of remember this stuff too.
That's interesting. I've never seen that.
Me either.
So once you're done with it, you've got all that rope there. What are you going to do with it?
Bert, you're muted.
I think you're muted, Bert.
Turn it into a placemat.
Yeah, we turned it into a placemat. You would kind of sew them together. You can use them as a trivet. You can make big ones and use them as a floor mat, or get out of your bed or whatever and have it by on the tile floor. I can remember seeing those, and it was something our parents would give us to keep us keep us entertained. And out of their hair, basically. Yeah.
Like
You could make
for glass coasters.
So
you could make a tea cozy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And again, once you have the product, you're only limited by your imagination on what you can do with it. But I think the most important part for the little people is fine motor skills, using their hands, learning to tie the knots. And if they make a mistake, it's no big deal. It's easy to recover, and they learn fine motor skills. So I know a couple of school teachers or people that are dealing with some children that have developmental challenges, and they like something that's simple, it's not frustrating. And the only problem is that it's a sharp needle, so they have to make sure they use the right kids. You can't give it to the wrong kid, or he might stab himself.
If you could give him a pencil, you could give him that.
That's the idea. And so, like for the average preschooler, 5, 6, 7-year-old, this is perfect because it gives them something to do, and they learn something, and they end up with something at the end. So it's been really, really well received. And I did stick a link to my video that I did on when I made these. I thought I better make a video of it because I'll forget how I did it. So I threw the link to my video on the chat.
We're not going to show your video from YouTube because we know we've already learned in the past that YouTube you can't show a video in a meeting like this. Too much latency. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and that's why I just threw it on the chat, because it's about 14 minutes long, but it's just go take a look at it when you get a chance. We'll do that if you're interested. Thank you very much. Any other questions for Bert? Duxbury, you're next.
Ooh, let me see here.
Yeah.
I'll do a screen share.
There it is.
You got it?
We see a plate that's made of three colors of wood.
Yeah, this is a technique. I wrote an article in Woodturning magazine in England. And this is a technique I use to make spindles and all kinds of things. It's kind of neat. This is about 4 different kinds of wood, 3 different kinds of wood, Wenge, maple, and what is that? Purple heart and cherry. So there's 4 kinds. Anyway, there's a side view of it.
Now it makes sense. I see what you did.
This is a neat way of doing things. I don't have time to get into the article, but
you got 5 minutes. Go for it.
This is the other side of it, bottom.
Okay, it's good.
Anyway, you can do all kinds of things with this. I'll have to stop share and bring another one up. Wait a minute. You think I know how to do this, don't you?
While you're doing that, I'm gonna make a comment about photography. You got a white background, but it's not white now. And if you made it white in your video processing or photo processing, it would bring the color of your product more accurately.
I have to do that in Photoshop or something?
Yeah, that's the quickest way. Just use the eyedropper tool and hit the white and it'll make the colors all correct.
You guys make it sound so, yeah, just do this, just do that.
That's all it is.
So
That's all.
4 hours later, I'm still just doing whatever. Can you see this?
with wood turning.
Yeah, we got your share now. Go for it.
Okay. Like I say, this is in Wood Turning Magazine, issue 365, I think, the latest issue. I was making kaleidoscopes and I made a cradle. Usually I made the ends out of one piece, one color of wood, and the spindle out of another color. Well, I ran out of the other color. So I glued 2 pieces together and I thought, well, that's kind of neat. You glue 2 pieces together. If you turn that around, you got a light side and a dark side, but that's not very interesting. So I cut them corner to corner, and you take this piece and glue it onto that side. This is this piece, and this is the other piece. So when you glue it together like that, you get a spindle with a stripe through it, okay?
Wonderful.
You got that?
Yeah.
Here's you glue it together. This is kind of neat. I wanted a square blank, 1 13/16. I had a piece of wood. I don't know what size this is, but if you ever got supposing this was 5 pieces of wood, all little strips, and you wanted to make a piece 1 13/16, you put 1 13/16 right there on the edge of the wood, and you read off on the other side, you need a 3/4 inch piece here to make that. Rulers are pretty smart. You don't have to add anything, you know. And not only that, when you get all done, it's right. Get that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the 2 pieces of wood with a line on them. I cut them corner to corner. Glue. This is cut corner to corner. This is where you take this piece and you glue it onto this side.
So you don't even have to flatten that bandsaw cut. It doesn't matter.
You don't, no, that goes outside. That's why you do this, because the bandsaw cut is a terrible cut, usually. This is how I square the corner. When you end up with this, you got an end on here that's not square. You don't have to do that if you're making spindles. You put in your bandsaw and you go to the closest side and nick it, and then you roll it 90 degrees and cut it square. Okay?
Nice.
Then you put it between centers and turn it around. And then you finish the end. Magazines don't want to know a technique. They want to know a project. So I had to make a project out of this. This is a bud vase. So I finished the end. Then I drilled the end to fit a little vial. Once I've got a turn blank with a hole in the end of it, I need a drive. And I make all kinds of these drives and I save them. This one just happens to be, I think it was a 5/8 hole in there. This is a number 2 Morris turned out of wood. And you keep these in your drawer. This is where, I even wrote on here, bud vase, so I know what it's for later. But this is a two section. You can use it for two different things. This is another one. But anyway, I'm going to use this one, stick it in the end.
My question is, how do you turn the Morse taper? How do you get an accurate Morse taper?
That's another video.
Okay.
I could show you that though, if you want to see it. It's real simple.
Another time.
You got it. I stick that in the lathe, put it over the drilled hole, put the tailstock on the other, lay it out, turn it round, put some burn marks on it, and finish the end. When you finish the end, you end up with this little nub right in the middle. A lot of people use chisels or try to hold on to it and do whatever. I use that little vibrator saw, and it trims it right off. Just beautiful. There's no nick in the bottom or pull the wood out. It just trims it right out. Then I sand the bottom. Kind of a hamburger shot, isn't it? Anyway, if you made these plain, this is what they'd look like. When you take the same thing in almost the same amount of time, you can make something of interest. This also works for spindles. It's easy, real easy now to make two that are like. You can make two that are opposite. You just turn one 180 degrees. This is a table leg made with the bird cage goes on top of here. There's a picture of the bird. But all four of these legs are identical. And that looks like it's really hard to do, but it really isn't. And not only that, it can save you some wood too. The only problem with it is when you look at the end view of it, those legs look crooked. And they are not crooked. They've had a framing square on them dozens of times, but people would swear those legs are crooked. By doing the same kind of technique supposing you had a 10 by 10 piece, 1.5 inches thick, all made out of different woods. If you set them on edge and cut them corner to corner, you can actually do the striping in the blank. And then this is turned kind of ringmaster style. There's another one, kind of ringmaster style turned. Anyway, you can go nuts doing this. This is
the technique that Virginia Dotson uses to make those amazing things that she makes.
This is
It's 1101.
well, this is 2 layers. This is Wenge and maple, but you can see it's not mitered. It's kind of hard. Anyway, no end to the fun. And the same technique was used on that other bowl that I showed. That was about 2 inches thick or more than that, but that was just turned into a bowl blank.
They make great pepper mills, that technique. That look neat. The earlier one.
You can do all kinds of things with this, yeah.
Now, is that your last slide?
That's it.
Okay, let's end your share.
Gotcha.
Good. Let's go back to the gallery view. Any questions for Dux before we wrap it up? Very nice technique. I'm glad to see that. I didn't know about that at all. There's a lot of links in today's chat. I'll put them in the follow-up email with the videos. I'm going to get a lot of little videos out of this. That's what we're doing now. We're posting the 1-hour video, but whenever somebody makes a coherent few minutes of something, I'm pulling that out as a separate little video to post. So they're easy to find and they get a lot of views and like that. So you can watch the whole hour if you want, or you can go in and watch the individual videos as they're available. And I have been taking the trouble to make sure it's okay with the guy who shares to hang his name on it, but I guess I'm going to from now on kind of assume that if you're here, you're okay with that. All right, I think we're coming to the end of the hour. Before we wrap up, has anybody got a burning desire for something they need to say? In that case, I'm going to say thank you all for your attendance today. We had 36 on screen at the max. There's 42 here now. And this is the end of Woodturners Coffee Hour for today. Thanks a lot. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.